Hello, fifth graders. Today's math lesson is lesson 3.2, and it is over multiplying with fractions. So we are still working on using a fraction multiplied by a whole number, kind of like we were last week, but it's going to get a little bit different today as our fractions aren't always going to have a 1 on the top. So let's look at our notes today, and then you'll be able to start your assignment. Number 1 says 1/3 of 18. Last week we talked about what of meant. What do we do when we see the word of? We multiply. Of just means to multiply. So we need to do 1/3 times 18. Remember, when we're multiplying by a whole number and a fraction, we do our whole number times the top of our fraction. The bottom number stays the same. So what would 1/3 times 18 give us? 18 thirds. Now, can we leave that as 18 thirds? No. How do I fix an improper fraction? We need to divide. 18 divided by 3, that would be 6. 3 times 6 is 18. So my final answer would be 6. That is what we were doing last week. That should look pretty familiar to you. However, down here I have 2/3 of 18. So we are taking 2/3 times 18. Now, we could do that the same way. We could take 18 times 2. We would get a top number, put a 3 on the bottom, and divide it out. But that's going to take a little bit longer since that top number is not a 1. It's not going to be as quick for us to figure out. So instead, I'm going to show you a little trick that helps to make it a little bit faster. We are first going to do 1/3 times 18. We're just going to do that fraction with a 1 on top. And we already did that up here. 1/3 times 18, we got a 6. We already figured all of that out up there, and it was 6. Now, we know 1/3 of 18 is 6. So if we want to know 2/3 of 18, we just take 2, our top number, times whatever answer we got for 1/3. So 2 times 6 would give us 12. Our final answer would be 12. That makes it a whole lot faster than having to take 18 times 2. We're going to have to work that out. Then we're going to get that answer with a 3 on the bottom, so that's going to be an improper fraction. Then we're going to have to divide all of that to figure out what our answer would be. Instead, we can use this trick and it will make our lives a little bit easier, which is what I'm all about. Anytime we can find a trick that makes it easier for us to do. Let's try number 2 and see if we can use that trick again. We have 1/4 dot 32. What does a dot mean again? It means to times. 1/4 times 32, what would that give me? 32 fourths. Can I leave my fraction like that? No, I need to divide. 32 divided by 4, that gives me 8. That is 32, so I subtract, that's a 0. My final answer would be 8. Now I'm going to use what I know. 1/4 times 32 was 8. I want to know 3/4 times 32. So I'm going to take my top number, 3 times my answer that I got for 1/4, which is 8, and that's going to give me this answer. What is 3 times 8? 24. 3 times 8 is 24. Okay, we're going to keep practicing that trick, but it makes it a lot faster than having to actually multiply that out like they're wanting us to do. Let's try that trick on number 3. If 1/5 of a distance is 3 kilometers, how far is 4/5? So they're telling us 1/5 is equal to 3 kilometers. What if I wanted to figure out 4/5? Well, to do that, I'm going to take my top number, which is a 4, and I'm going to times it by the answer that I got for 1/5. So I know 1/5 was 3 kilometers. I'm going to take 4 times 3. What is 4 times 3? That is 12 kilometers. Pretty quick when we use that trick that I taught you. 12 kilometers. Number 4. If 1/7 of a book is 4 pages, how many pages is 2/7 of the book? So 1/7 of the book, they said, is equal to 4 pages. Alrighty, but I want to know 2/7 of the book. Look at your top number. We want to know 2/7. So I'm going to take 2 times. I already knew 1/7 was 4 pages. So I'm going to take 2 times that answer, which was 4. What is 2 times 4? 8 pages. So 2/7 would be 8 pages in that book. Alrighty, let's try it with number 5. Silver City is 24 miles away. Gus has driven 1/4 of the distance. Emma has driven 3/4 of the distance. How many miles has Gus driven? Alrighty, well, Silver City is how many miles away? 24 times how far has Gus driven? 1/4. All right, what do I get when I take 24 times 1/4? 24/4. Can I leave my fraction like that? No, we need to divide. 24 divided by 4, that would be 6. No remainder, so 6. What would my label be here? Miles. 6 miles is how far Gus has driven. How many miles has Emma driven? All right, well, how many miles is it to Silver City? 24 times, how far has Emma driven? 3/4. Now, we could multiply that out, or we could use our trick. We already know that 24 times 1/4 was 6. So we know 1/4 is 6. How many fourths are we trying to figure out? 3. So we're just going to do 6 times 3. What is 6 times 3? 18 miles. Once we know 1/4, we can easily figure out 3/4 by taking our answer and timesing it by that top number. Let's try that strategy again on number 6. Shady Grove is 40 miles away. Middletown is 1/5 of the way there, and Parkview is 2/5 of the way. How many miles away is Middletown? What am I going to do to figure out how many miles away Middletown is? Well, Shady Grove is 40 miles, so 40 times Middletown is 1/5 of the way. So 40 times 1/5, what would that give me? 40/5. I can't leave it like that. How do I fix an improper fraction? Divide. 40 divided by 5 would be 8. No remainder there, so my final answer would be 8 miles. How many miles away is Parkview? All right, so Shady Grove is 40 miles times Parkview is 2/5 of the way. I think I could use my trick here. I know that 1/5 was 8 miles. 1/5 was 8 miles. What am I going to do to that 8 to figure out 2/5? 8 was 1/5 times my top number, which is 2. So what is 8 times 2? 16 miles. I'm going to take it times 1/5 and then see what 2 of those would be, which would be 16. All right, one last example here, and then I'll let you work on your assignment. Eagle Rock is 72 miles away. When we had gone 2/9 of the distance, we stopped for gas. How many miles had we traveled? Well, we are doing 72 times 2/9 because that is the information that they gave me. Now, I could do 72 times 2/9. It might take me a while to multiply all of that out, but I could do it. Instead, let's make our life a little easier. Let's do 72 times 1/9 first. What would 72 times 1/9 be? 72 ninths. We can't leave it like that, so divide. 72 divided by 9. How many 9s will go into 72? 8. That is 72, so no remainder. All right, now we have to think. 1/9 was 8 miles. We want 2/9. So if I know that 1/9 was 8 miles, how am I going to figure out how much 2/9 is? I'm going to take 8 times 2. I just take my answer from 1/9 and times it by my top number, which is a 2. So 8 times 2 would be 16 miles. Just using that trick. You are going to see on your assignment, I did numbers 1 and 2 for you. We did those together in class today. You are going to see we used this same trick. So really look at those before you start, because it's going to make your life a lot easier as you work through those on your assignment today. Good luck. Do your best. You've got it.